What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the rePORTER Show. As always, I got my co-host with me. I got Dev on my left. I got Tuck on my right. Today, we don't have no paper notes. You know what I'm saying? I gotta have my notes to keep up with everything going on. Y'all don't think I'm not coming out the dome with all that information. I gotta have my notes. So sadly, we're going off of the phone. So if we look a little, how do you say, ghetto, it's okay, you know what I'm saying? We just had to go off of the phones today. Outlook is not working the way it should be working right now. Anywho, we're gonna take this one on to the first subject. We got volleyball. Volleyball had a matchup against College of the Ozarks. Now, as you all know, we split the regular season with them. We had a loss 2-3, and then we swept them one time 3-0. So after getting knocked out of the SAC tournament, then we had an opportunity to compete in the NCCAA tournament on the regional side of things. So if you win regionals, then you get a chance to go to the actual national tournament for the NCCAA. So honestly, a very good opportunity here, and it was what I expected. I won't lie, because it was a back and forth match, and it's been back and forth between them the past two matchups. Even though we swept them 3-0 in that last matchup, it wasn't like 25-10 every time. You know what I'm saying? It was a battle. And this time it very much was the same exact thing. In that first set, we won 25-23. I'm gonna go ahead and skip to the end, man. We went to 5 sets. It was back and forth. We won the first set. They won the second set. We won the third set. They won the fourth set. And then we got to the 5th set. The biggest thing that I noticed about this matchup, though, was it was statistically a very good performance for us offensively. I mean, if you just look at the hitting percentages, you got a .290 hitting percentage in that first set. And then in the second set, we dropped. It was very unlikely of us, but it is what it is. To only have one bad set out of 5 sets, .389 hitting percentage in the third set, .256 hitting percentage in the fourth set, a .450 hitting percentage in that 5th set. So looking at these stats, just like we've said before, it looked like we took the cake, right?
Like we want to handle business.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And we didn't. It was sad because it was one of those performances. I don't know if you guys remember that matchup earlier in the season when we played Texas Wesleyan, and we had just a dominant performance offensively, but then they just did more offensively. They still won the game. Well, that was the exact same scenario here in the 5th set. Like I said, a .450 hitting percentage. Well, College of the Ozarks had a .600 hitting percentage.
Oh,
no errors. No errors. They had a .303 hitting percentage in that one set where we had a terrible set in that second set. And then, of course, in that 4th set, they had a .394 hitting percentage. So they did enough to get the win. And we just so happened couldn't pull it out. Looking at the team comparison, though, I mean, 76 today, 73, 67 today, 59. We only lost in 2 stats, aces and blocks. We tied with digs. That's a tough way to go out.
Yeah, it sucks to go out like that.
Tough way to go out.
Like you went out there and did your job.
Exactly.
Just unfortunately not good enough compared to them.
Not good enough.
Yeah,
And I
good
feel
enough.
like that was our story of the season for volleyball. Last year, I feel like there were some things that, I'm not going to say we couldn't control, but some things that we couldn't help in the season. Maybe we weren't the most talented, the most athletic team last year. This year, I felt like, this year I felt like we were a lot more talented across the board. We just had a lot better players, and I thought our peak was a lot higher this year than it was last year. That being said, I still feel like it was kind of underwhelming this year as far as what I saw from the beginning of the season. I thought we were going to accomplish a lot more, and maybe we just never got it together, but it was a better year than last year, but man, I still feel like we underachieved for the most part.
Definitely.
And I think they would all think the same thing.
Yeah,
Definitely. I think go ahead.
I was gonna say, Tuck said it, like we had the pieces to make this perfect and probably win a championship, in my opinion. Across the board, like we mentioned before, there was depth at every single position on this team. Somebody would go down, next person would step up and do their job, but at the end of the day, we just couldn't get the job done.
Yeah, I think just like the story of this game, we always did good, but just not quite good enough to get us over that hump, and I think that was the story of the season. So maybe looking from last season, we just flat out didn't have the players. This year we had the players, but just never really achieved what we were capable of achieving. And so I think next year, hopefully, we take that bigger step, and now we're in the conversation to win the SAC and to compete in the NAIA tournament.
Definitely. Selma finished up her career with 20 kills in this last matchup, man. So what a way to go out. And like you spoke on depth and picking up where we need to be picked up where we're lacking. Ilgen, like I said in that last matchup, she had 13 kills this game, so she was tied for second for the most kills in this. So picking up at the end of the season with players that we know, well, hopefully, are coming back, you know what I'm saying? So that's a good thing to see. It's sad to know that we couldn't do it with this team, but I know that they always bring more firepower every year.
True.
So I have no doubt, like you said, hopefully next year we're competing in the NAIA national tournament instead of that NCCAA national tournament, even though we didn't even get to that one this year, sadly. But that's all we got for volleyball this year, man. Y'all had a good season, but it was just
a lot of good.
it was a lot of good, but it was just a very rough way to end it in that sense. I'm going to take this one on to men's soccer. Men's soccer is also competing at the NCCAA regional semifinals. They had a matchup against Iglesia, who last year they thumped like 11-0, something crazy. So I didn't expect much different this year, even though they said the name differently. They said Ecclesia. I see it as Ecclesia. If y'all say it another way, it don't matter. Now, y'all know who I'm talking about, whichever way y'all want to say it. Now, they had a decent record. They were like 10-6 or 10-5 or something. I don't know. But it didn't really bother me. I'm like, they probably didn't play nobody.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was. In that first half, man, Francis got us going very, very quickly. It was just as if they could not compete with us. Then we had a follow-up right here. Francis again with an assist to Jamal to go up 2-0. Then Francis again. The boy was just, it was all Francis, honestly, in his first half. I mean, just the dribbling skills. Just the dribbling skills. I mean, come on. Then they had a corner. Then they had a corner that we just couldn't clear. I mean, that they just couldn't clear. And we ended up eventually scoring again. So we went up 4-1 at the half. Francis had
He played his part.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He had 2 goals and 1 assist.
Yeah.
So out of those 4 goals, he was a part of 3 of them.
Hey, Francis
So-
got the ball. He said, "Get out the way."
Yeah.
It's straight ISO over here. It's ISO ball over here. He was out there doing this
I mean,
thing.
and even if you looking at them highlights, man, the way that he was dribbling the ball, the way that he was showing his skills, just getting around defenders easily, left and right, didn't matter, and then drilling one from probably about 20, 30 feet outside of the box.
Yeah.
The man was honestly having a day, and the team fed off of that very easily. They went into the second half, scored 5 more goals, ended up winning this one 9-2. The shots, 30 shots total.
Oh, man.
22 of them was on goal to their 5. So it was much like the very last time that we played them boys. There was no competition here. Let's be real. Francis had 2 goals and 1 assist. Jamal had 2 goals and 2 assists. So both of the guys that we normally talk about had their day. And then they were to prepare for the matchup against Southwestern Christian in the regional championship game. Now, the matchup that we had against Southwestern Christian last time, as you know, ended in a tie that was broken on penalty kicks, and we ended up winning. So this was another matchup that was very, very tight, very, very tight. In that first half, we had no goals from either team. It's very reminiscent of that last matchup. What I will say, though, is that it seemed as if Southwestern Christian had more opportunities and more looks, and they were the aggressors. They had 9 shots to our 2, but I will say, watching it didn't feel like that. I mean, they might have had 9 shots, but they was 9 shots that was nowhere near the goal. You know what I'm saying? They were just throwing up, you know what I'm saying? So it was a very dry first half, just like that last game that they had. But then in the second half, finally, Jamal, at about 18 minutes left in the second half, Jamal broke free, got himself around the defender, drilled one into the back of the net. And that would be the only goal of this game. We ended up winning this one 1-0. We put up 6 shots on goal. They put up 3 shots on goal. So we were the aggressors all in all. Zatikin had the assist for that goal that Jamal scored. And so winning this sent us to the NCCAA National Tournament, facing off against, I believe, Judson, who is 11-4-5. Now, I looked at their conference and I looked at their regular season schedule, and I won't lie, they had some pretty tough competition. So I don't think this is going to be another pushover team. I think this is going to be a really good competition, and I think it's going to be a game where everybody going to have to be on 10. Yeah.
Everybody got to show up.
Yeah, everybody does have to show up. They played the number 6 team in the nation at one point, I believe, and they only lost by 2 goals. And then they played the number 16 team in the nation, and I think there was another game that they only lost by 2 goals or maybe 3. So very tight matchups, playing against a dominant team, and y'all not even ranked. It's pretty. It's respectable. They're very respectable.
Very respectable opponent. I think, obviously, I think the men's soccer team wanted to be in the Iron National tournament. The chips didn't fall that way. But now I'm glad to see them making the best of their opportunity. They had to earn their way into the NCCA this year, and they did so. They're playing good. I feel like Jamal and Francis are both playing their best soccer of the year, and this is when you want them to be playing their best soccer in the postseason. So hopefully, man, we can just our studs show up to play on December 2nd, but the rest of the team's got to show up as well. And hopefully we might as well. I mean, if we're in the NCCAA, we might as well make a run at it. Like, why not? They had to battle just to get to this position, so hopefully they can make a good run at it.
Yeah,
I agree.
You got anything?
Perfect.
All right. Well, man, like you said, December 2nd is when they will be kicking off this tournament. So we will be, I think that's going to be on that Monday.
December 2nd is a special day, man. I was born that day, so soccer. I want nothing more than for y'all to go ahead and get a win for me. You know what I'm saying, for my birthday.
Okay, bro. Is your birthday on Monday?
It is.
Okay, so it's on Monday.
So y'all better win.
So maybe depending on what time of the day that game happens on that Monday, we might cover it on that show. Which normally we don't do. We normally wait till the next week to cover any events that happen in that week. But if it happens before we do the show, we might cover it. And hopefully, my boy is having a good birthday.
How you gonna be tough?
That's the plan. You said what?
How old you
About
gonna be?
30, ain't it?
No, come on, man. I'm 22, bro.
Oh, okay.
22.
Okay.
Chill out. Taylor Swift.
Okay.
My T-Swift
right here. Let's talk about some Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Come on now. All right. Now, let's take this one on to men's wrestling, man. Men's wrestling had a duels match. I thought that this was a duels match team v team, but this was a duels match team v team v team v team v team. So there was a lot of teams here, and they were all competing against each other, and they was going to see who was the best team. Now, I don't know how many teams were there in total, but we faced 3 teams, and we handled 3 teams. Now let's get into the game here, the matchups here. We had a matchup against Friends University. We won that matchup. We had a matchup against Oklahoma Wesleyan. We won that matchup. And then we had a matchup against the 10th ranked team in the nation, St. Mary.
Are we ranked?
We ain't ranked. We won that matchup.
Hey.
So we went 3-0 on the weekend as a team. Now, I wish I had some individual stats for these events, but the site that I normally keep up with them did not have anything on this meet. I don't know if it was something that wasn't tracked on nationally or what. I don't know why somebody dropped the ball on putting those stats up for the men's wrestling on that site. But I did have some help from their social media team. They helped me out. They led me in the right direction. They were going to see if they could get me some points. I'm refreshing. Oh, what did I just do? Oh, anywho, I don't have the scores yet, man. But all we need to know is that we won. And honestly, winning against the 10th ranked team in the nation, being unranked.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, I didn't know we were unranked. I assumed that we were, but because I think we should be. Our wrestling team normally goes out there and handles business. But I mean, beating the number 10th ranked team, you proved a point, in my opinion.
You did.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing the ranking on our, next to our name pretty soon.
Yeah, I am. And I think those rankings literally just came out, so we won't see them being ranked or bumped up in probably the next 2 weeks, probably something like that. I really wanted to see those individual matchups because that must have meant that we upset some players. It had to have been. Because if you beat the 10th ranked team in the nation, that probably means that we had an unranked opponent beat a ranked opponent.
Ranked,
yeah, that's all that means. And so I'm glad that y'all went out there and handled business. I'm sorry that I can't shout y'all out individually, but props to y'all, man, as a team. Now we're going to take this one on to women's wrestling. Women's wrestling, they were bumped down to 17th ranked in the nation. They were 16th ranked in the nation. It's not a huge bump, but it's all right. We trying to move up, not down, but it's all right. We moving. They had a a tournament at the Missouri Valley Open. This is some big competition. You know, like I said, with the Iowas and, you know, same situation here. And a lot of competitors. So you'll notice that these girls would have like 8 matchups. They had like 5 wins, 4 wins, and they still didn't place. So that shows you how many competitors were at this tournament. Now, at 103, Mallory went 3-3 over the course of the tournament. Of those 3 wins, 1 was by tech fall 10-0, 1 was by decision 12-9, and 1 was by pin. The 12-9 win was over the 12th ranked wrestler in her weight class from William Penn. So she ended up placing 8th overall in her weight class. So that's a really big finish for us, top 10 finish out of I don't know how many competitors. I'm not going to go through and count. But it was a lot of them out there. And she had a big upset, top 20 rankings for her because she's not ranked. So that was big for her to win that. At 124, 15th ranked Tess Barnett won her first match easily by a quick pin. Honestly, I think in like the first 10 to 15 seconds. But then at some point, she was injured and she could not go on to compete throughout the rest of this tournament. There was another injury. You know what, I'm going to go ahead and talk about that so I can group them together. At 138, Jordan Suarez, 3rd ranked nation. Won her first match by pin as well, but could not continue on due to injury. So 2 injuries to 2 girls that are top ranked in the nation right now. That's gotta hurt.
Very dominant what they do.
That's gotta hurt. And what I'm hoping and praying is maybe they tweak something and the coach is like, it's not that big of a deal for you to compete throughout the rest of this tournament. Just sit out.
We'll live with it.
You know, we'll live with it, relax a little bit. We'll come back next week or the following week, something like that. You know, out of precaution.
There's more in the future to look forward to rather than this, this one tournament.
And so I hope that these aren't season-ending injuries for these girls because they were on a hot streak.
But just minor tweaks.
Yeah. I hope it's just minor tweaks because Jordan, she's still undefeated. I don't care about, you know, they give them losses when it's an injury. But I ain't taking that loss.
Yeah, she undefeated.
She undefeated.
Nobody got on the mat and beat her.
Yeah, nobody has gotten on the mat. You feel me? Come on now. Now, at 138, Aspen went 3-2 on the weekend. She won by pin, decision 12-4, and another decision 5-0. So she did not end up placing. She was eliminated before she could reach any placing matchups. So that would be that. At 145, Avery went 3-2 as well with a pin, a tech fall 10-0, and a decision 14-5. She did not place. Once again, like I said, these girls are winning matches, still not placing, man. So it's a lot of competition at their weight class. At 160, our first girl that placed was Mahogany. She went 5-2 on the weekend. 5-2 on the weekend. Won by decision 8-3, decision 16-10, tech fall 12-1, decision 9-2, and decision 2-1. Ended up placing 8th, I believe. Or did I miss something?
No, Leilani placed 8th. Mahogany
placed 8th?
I believe so.
I thought we had 2. You know what? I'm sorry, y'all. I was wrong. She did not place. But think about that. 5-2.
Yeah, 5-2.
And you don't place?
Yeah, you should place top 5, something you would think.
That's got to be a lot of competitors, man. That's got to be a lot of competitors. Props to you for going 5-2 on the weekend. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So I'm sorry about that. It was not Mahogany. It was Leilani at 207, 5th ranked in the nation. Went 4-3 on the weekend. 2 pins, 1 decision 9-0, and another decision 9-5. And the win by decision 9-0 came over the 13th ranked wrestler in this weight class. But of course, that's expected when you're 5th ranked in the nation. You better handle your business. And she was eliminated by the 2nd ranked wrestler in her weight class, only 6-2. So that's just a takedown. You know, if you get a takedown, you get 4, I believe. Now, if I'm wrong on that, I'm sorry. But I believe, but that's either way, it's still a really close matchup. So she ended up placing 8th. This was the young lady that placed 8th. So we had 2 girls place 8th. And then at 207, Faith went 4-2. And all of her wins were by pin. But she did not place. So all in all, the women's team had a very good tournament. We only had 2 girls place. But when you're at a tournament where there's honestly a lot of big teams.
So much competition.
Yeah. So they did what they did what they needed to do.
Yeah, the bottom line is they won more matches than they lost. And so I guess early in the season, that's all you can really ask for.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, I mean, end of the day, I don't think this tournament necessarily means anything in terms of
other than just proving who you are.
Other than just proving and maybe earning your place in the rankings and stuff like that. This doesn't really necessarily determine your season.
It doesn't.
And so regardless, I think we went out there and handled business, did our jobs, and we saw what we expect of our women's wrestling team.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's only good things to come from this point forward.
It really is. And as you all know, I do only cover the matchups that are 2 or more wins, or honestly 2 more wins, 2+ wins. Sorry. Because there's a lot of girls, man. There's a lot of girls. So
Yeah.
all in all, I don't know our overall record here in total. It could have been 500, could have been less than 500. We did have some girls that did not win any matches. We did have some girls that went like 1-2 or 2-2. So, but from the girls that I did highlight, big props to y'all. And I hope that y'all continue moving up the rankings next time that they come out. I really think that we should. I don't know how many NAIA teams are going to these competitions and competing at the level that we are. You know what I'm saying? I know that there's NAIA teams at these tournaments because that's just the nature of wrestling. They don't care about divisions.
Yeah.
You wrestling everybody, which is really, honestly, I would love that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know how much I would love that in my particular sport at baseball. If we had to play D1 schools, I would probably hate that because why am I facing off somebody that's throwing 100 that's going to be drafted next week? You know what I'm saying? I don't want that. But y'all are ready to take that on, so props to y'all.
Facts.
We're going to take this one on to women's basketball. Women's basketball had a matchup against UNT Dallas. And I won't lie to you, this was much like the first 2 games that they had this season. They were hitting a lot of threes. They were getting what they wanted. They hit 12 threes. They had a decent field goal percentage, 40% from the field, and not much of a challenge from UNT Dallas, I won't lie to you. Megan had 24 and 13, same exact stat line from the last game. 9 for 14 from the field. Emily had a big game. 15 points, 4 for 5 from the three-point line.
Yeah, she
would
got
shoot.
them going for sure.
She would shoot.
And I mean, UNT Dallas, obviously their women have not been very good since I've been here at Wayland. But I will say in the first quarter, they thought they had a fighting chance and they were playing us well. So I do give Emily props for that because she kind of was our motor, hit a couple threes, got a couple steals.
Had
And
to shut them down.
Yeah. And so she had to she woke us up and got us going. So credit to her. But it was just everybody on the team contributed. Obviously they scored 94 points. So, I mean, they handled business.
94 to 66, I mean, come on now. So we're going to go ahead and take this one on to the next matchup, man, because really, I ain't got much to talk about that game. When you whack somebody like that, it's you play good, they didn't, and it is what it is. So we're going to go on to the next matchup. They had a matchup against Nelson. And that first half, offensively, we started off very slow, only scoring 2 points through the first 4 minutes of the game. But eventually we picked it up, had some very efficient shooting, 50% from the field, and 57% from the three-point line. So carrying on that play style that they've had all season, honestly, other than the last 2 or 3 games or so. But I want to talk about Caitlin because she was leading the way. She had 8 points in the first quarter, and she had 9 points in the fourth quarter. So, like, individually, let's check her out, man. Missed a shot right before this, stayed within the play, got the steal, came back, tough finish. That's how she started her scoring. Then, I don't know what they was thinking. They started leaving her open at the 3. Don't do that. She finna bang it. Come on now, stop playing. Come on now. Another one coming down the court. Why are we leaving her open? Bang, that's another one. So she did the same thing in that fourth quarter as well. But the biggest thing was, yes, she had this good performance in this first quarter. The biggest one was the fourth quarter, and I'm going to tell you why. That second quarter was terrible. 2 for 12 from the three-point line as a team. 4 for 19 as a team from the field. So do the math. That's some very bad shooting percentage.
And it slows your momentum down.
It slows your momentum down.
Like,
but we still took a 35-27 lead into the half, right? So then you go into the third quarter, it was another slow one. It was just very slow production. I won't say it was bad shooting as it was in the second quarter, but it just wasn't good. It wasn't flying queens. But the thing is, like we always say, they always do enough. They always do enough to get to where they need to be. And I'm going to say this last thing, and I'm going to let y'all take this.
Sure.
The biggest thing that I saw was the miscommunication down low. They had a lot of open looks down low, and I think the biggest part of that was they were really trying to pull Meg out to the top of the key. They wanted to take her presence completely out of the way, and it worked for a lot of this game because they were getting down low with just nobody around them. I was like, who was on her?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here? But y'all can go ahead and give me y'all spill on that. They did end up winning this game 76-66, so they handled business.
I mean,
go ahead.
For me, I feel like you can see on their faces, the coaches' faces in the crowd, the energy in the gym when we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. When we have those slow moments like that, but I mean, it's like that first game that we had talked about, and this one, like somebody flips the switch, and then you just see the wheels start turning, and we just take off. I mean, we're, like everybody knows, an amazing shooting team. We constantly can get to the bucket. Megan is a huge factor in the paint. Caitlin, Emily, like across the board, we can put points on the board regardless.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting it done. And you, like I said, you can tell because everybody's looking around like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like,
No, for
like
real,
we playing with our food right now.
Yeah.
Why are we not out there killing?
The thing about the girls is I think even in a slow start like that, and Sagu's been a pretty good team, or Nelson, I apologize. Their girls have been good for a long time, much like their boys, but I don't think there was ever a moment in the game, even when we started slow, when the girls thought that they were going to lose, or anybody in the gym thought that they were going to lose. It's like it was only a matter of time until Caitlin got it going. If she didn't, Emily was, or Bobby was, or Linda, or Serbia and Megan. I mean, yeah, it's like, man, we just got that, and that's the problem with them. Like, I thought they played great defense on Megan. They're very physical with her. They had somebody just in their grill 24/7, and no player likes that. But this is what's crazy is they played. In my opinion, they played a good defensive game on her. She had 15 and 19.
She had 15.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they played good. So it's like,
I think that is one thing that we've kind of seen in these games so far is, I mean, teams have been watching film. They're starting to do whatever they can to make Megan uncomfortable, and I just want to give a huge shout out to her for overcoming that constantly.
You know what's
to her teammates, and her coaches for keeping her up.
You know what's crazy about that? You talking about them guarding her, tightly, no matter what. It was very funny to me because I saw they called a timeout one time, and the girl that was guarding her was still in her face, like trying to guard her. And I'm like, y'all know she called a timeout, right? And then there was another time where she had free throws, and she was at the line, and the girl was in her face trying to guard her. I was like, you know she's shooting free throws, right? And I'm just like, it's like, even though she's getting her points, she's getting her rebounds, she's doing her thing, she's not scoring as much as she wants to, but the impact that she has on the game.
Her presence on the court opens up so much opportunity for the people around her.
Exactly.
And like
because they're so worried about guarding her.
Yeah, and
it's
like I said,
y'all letting open buckets.
I want to give props to her teammates for, I guess, being able to feed off of that and not allowing her to get down in her head whenever, if she only has 2 points in the first quarter, you can see it sometimes, like I said, on her face and stuff like that. And that's natural. She's a human. She's an athlete. And you over there fed up. You like, bro, come on. Like, I'm just trying to hoop. And these teams ain't letting her. But it's huge props to her teammates and the coaching staff as well for keeping her up. And like I said, her teammates as well for just doing what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. Kayla ended up with 23 points, 5 assists, 3 steals. Megan had 15 points, 19 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals. I think Linda had 13 as well. And so, as a team, they really did what they needed to do. And like I said, they're just bringing enough. I want them to start thrashing teams. Y'all need to start thrashing teams. We're going to take this one on to men's basketball, last subject we got here, man. Men's basketball had a matchup against UNT Dallas, and this was a game that I have been waiting for a long time. A confident win. A confident win where we looked good all the way through. Our shots weren't falling early, but that was all right. It was a tight game for most of this first half, but eventually we started to find a little bit of rhythm. Due to some solid defense, capitalizing off steals, helped us build some momentum. We went into the half up 35-28. Now, the second half, it was all Q. Now, if I wanted to go and pull through all these highlights, we'd be on here for forever. Now, y'all know who Q is. Y'all know how he hooped. Y'all been to the games. I don't have to show y'all the highlights. That boy the real deal. He came out in the second half, put up 22 points. 22 points in the second half. 22 points in the second half. A lot of people do that in a whole game. A lot of people do that in 2 games. Now, this man did it in 1 half. Now, we're going to take this on. Honestly, as a team in this half, we shot 59% from the field, 43% from the three-point line, 86% from the free throw line. So this is a great second half. Like I said, a complete game. I've been waiting on this. We ended up being a score, like I said, that we've been looking for all year. It was a confident win. We won 82-64. Q had 32, 50% from the field, 5 for 8 from the three-point line. Dylan had 17, 8 for 15 from the field. Kabeen, 11 and 10. Big time for Kabeen, 4 for 5 from the field. Now we're going to take this one on to Nelson, and I'm going to let these boys talk about them as a whole. Now, Nelson. First half, exactly what they've been doing to win games. Great team ball. 7, 7, 7, and 8. That was team scores individually going into the half. So that's big. That means that everybody was getting some love. Some guys had 2, some guys had 3, some guys had 5. So that means everybody that was touching the court was getting some love. That's team ball. Now, Adiola soon has steadily become more of a presence for this team as a whole. That's big. That's big because when you got a presence down low, it changes the way that teams guard you. Now let's look at the big game because Adiola and Kabine are some dogs in this game. And you know, that boy can shoot the 3 too, so don't leave him open. He gonna knock him down. Then Adiola, I mean, honestly, the boy's so big, you just gotta put your body on somebody. They not gonna stop you. They not gonna stop you. Here we go again. Julian really be setting these boys up.
He does.
That boy really be setting. Him and Q be dropping dimes.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. They will continue on. He got a big rebound here. Tough bucket. Went back up. Go ahead and get it to him. Y'all too low. Y'all too low. Now, came out in the second half though. Didn't play no good basketball. Started out missing a lot of free throws. 9 for 17 from the free throw line. Turned the ball over 9 times in the second half, and we let it become a tight game. We had control. We let it become a tight game. So, who had to come to the rescue? Q. Y'all already know. Q had to come to the rescue. He scored 10 points. He scored the last 10 points. We was down 70-63 with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. And he scored the last 10 points for us to go ahead and win this game. Let's check out this last bucket that ended up being the game winner. Through 3 defenders, the up and under, give it to me. Game over. I'm calling game. Q ended up with 23 points, 50% from the field, 3 for 7 for the three-point line. Dylan had 13 points. Kabine had 13 points, 9 rebounds, 5 for 7. Adiola had 13 points. Perfect, 5 for 5 from the field. So, big-time game from the bigs, big-time game from Q. Get some things going, but we got to stop letting up when we got control of the games.
True.
Go ahead and give me y'all spiel. We're going to close this one out, man.
Man, Nelson, obviously they've always been a good team. They never quit. They're well coached. So we got up 7, and I feel like we should have been up a lot more at halftime because we gave them some easy stuff, some fouls, and then we just made some dumb turnovers in the first half. I mean, it looked good. It was a good half, but I still felt like there were things we could have done to be up by 10 to 15. Then we had more of a cushion. But anyway, second half, man, they started hitting shots. We stopped hitting shots. We started turning the ball over and missing free throws. And we looked up when we were down 7 with 1:20, 1:30 left, and was thinking, man, that's another one that we let slip. And then Q just went nuts, man. The shots that he takes and makes every day is just crazy to me. But yeah, I got to give that one to him. He flat out just put us on his back. They were 14 for 14 from the free throw line, and then they missed 4 in a row in the last minute. So that also helped us.
Yeah. Give a huge shout out to the student section again.
Agreed.
They over there getting in their head, and they left the door open, and Q went straight through and got himself a bucket. Q is a walking bucket.
He is. I mean, the
like
big
that.
dog shot it from the logo. But we're gonna keep on. We're gonna keep this one on, man. That was a big win for them. They moved to 3-1 on the year in conference. The women's are still undefeated. So basketball, men's and women's starting to move on up. Tonight, women's basketball versus OPSU at 6. Men's basketball versus OPSU at 8. And then the only other matchup we have throughout the rest of this week is on Saturday when all of y'all are gone eating y'all turkey and doing what y'all do. Is men's basketball versus Kansas Wesleyan at 2 p.m. I doubt anybody going to be there. If y'all want to show up, you're going to be the only one in the stands, but go ahead and do that. That's all we got for y'all this week, man. We're going to see y'all same time next week and hopefully slow this thing down. All right, man.